Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Chasing Collectibles Catchup. I'm Tyler, and I am happy to be joined today by a friend of mine, Amber Ortiz. We've been friends for a hot minute, and Amber is working on a book. And since we like supporting artists and all that here, I thought I'd invite her on and we'd yap about it. So, welcome, Amber.
Thank you, Tyler. I'm excited to yap away.
Excellent. And we've been friends since middle school, which is wild. It's been over a decade, no, not even a lot, like 15 years, 16 years, which is a little crazy.
I've known you
So,
since you had blonde highlights.
yes, I had blonde. Maybe I should put up a picture at some point in this blonde highlights, and I was the weird kid at the cafeteria. But I think being weird is good.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm in charge of young people. So,
Yes.
take that as you will.
And they have their own trends, I'm sure, their own versions of the
Yes.
blonde highlights.
Yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of people out there. Um, So I know when I was in middle school, I also liked writing, and I don't think we ever talked too much about writing at that age. Like I maybe have mentioned story stuff to you, but I don't think we ever really got too in the weeds of it. But I know you mentioned that you've been like writing for a good bit, kind
Yes,
of on it.
so when I was in elementary school, I first started, we'd have those journals, where you had to write, and I just would kind of go overboard on every single assignment. And my teachers were like, "Oh, you're going to be a writer," and it hypnotized me, I think. Um,
Right.
so I was in middle school and my dad had a book idea and wanted to co-write it with me to kind of challenge me. So we co-wrote a novel. It's garbage, but I still have it somewhere. And that was my first, I think we finished it. I was in eighth grade. And so yeah, I have that. And then I've just been writing ever since. I don't know. I feel like you and I did go back and forth about writing though, because I used to draw pictures of your characters, I think as far back as middle school.
I think so. Yeah. Actually, now you mention it, I know you did a very early version. I still have it somewhere of Rob, one of my main characters. So
Hmm.
that's somewhere either here or at my mom's house.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's cool like sticking with it, and I think I'm sure you can tell like how you write now versus how you wrote, in middle school is probably very, very different.
I think the first time I went out to write a book on my own, I was a senior in high school and I was taking a computer class I was way too old to be taking because I had like an introductory course and it was my senior year. So I kind of
Right.
goofed around a lot. I wrote a whole book in that class. And at the end of the year, I looked it over and I was like, this is awful.
Right.
But it was a full concentrated effort. And I said, I'm not going to write a whole book again until I have really honed my ability to put what I want on the page.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I did that. I did some fan fiction after high school just to keep writing.
Yeah.
Uh, but this is the first fully finished, done in editing project. So
Awesome. And I mean I'm similar place where the book I'm writing now that you've been helping me with as well is like the very first version of that I wrote was senior year of high school. I've kind of
mhm.
been trying to improve it ever since. But I remember being like 18 and being like, this is so good. And now I look back, I still have that draft somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. But like we wouldn't be good if we weren't progressing. Like it would be sad if my writing as a 28-year-old was the same as my writing as an 18-year-old. We learn over time. So we learn the tricks of the trade, I guess.
Yeah, and you never start off good. I mean, it's like artists. You see this trend going around sometimes. It's like guess my age based on how good my art is, and it'll be like phenomenal art, and they'll be like, I'm 12. That's rare.
Right, yeah.
Usually,
The prodigy.
you need some time to be awful before you get good at anything, and writing is included. Um, I've actually started adminning a women's writing group on Discord, and sometimes we'll get people that get really frustrated because they're in that beginning process, and it's like they want to be very good from the beginning.
Mhm.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that you have to go through the suck, the
Right,
suckage
yeah.
to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and over time we just learn like, oh, I should do this less or I should do this more. Like it just and sometimes you just need someone telling you like, oh, this you could do this, you could do
Yeah,
that, and it's good to be in that conversation, which is what I've really enjoyed with what we've been doing the past. I guess we started kind of critiquing each other's stuff in June,
yeah.
and I've really enjoyed that kind of dialogue of like you pointing out things that are like, oh, I didn't realize I do that, or that would be a good way to improve.
Hmm. Yeah, I think
Um,
I was reading for you and one other friend, and that was like the first time I started alpha reading for people. And
yeah.
now it's like I half read normal published books and I half just do alpha and beta reading for people because it's really fun to be part of that process for others. To just say like, okay, I've learned this about editing over time. I can apply that to other people and help them get further in their own process.
Could you, because I remember early on, I knew beta, but I didn't know alpha. Could you explain what is the difference between alpha and beta readers?
Absolutely. So an alpha reader is anybody that's working on an unfinished manuscript. So it doesn't matter if you're near the end, it doesn't matter if you're on chapter one. They're going to work with you along the way, to help make sure that your pacing is good, your dialogue's good, to kind of help you get some early editing done. If you have an alpha, it helps you so much developmentally because if you've written a whole book and then you send it to somebody and they're like, this plot point makes no sense, then you have to go back and rewrite
Yeah,
however much. So that's an alpha, whereas a beta reader is it's different things to different people. What it's supposed to be is somebody who reads your book that is finished for reader feedback, for someone that says, like, this is how these characters made me feel. This is how this plot point made me feel. The pacing is slow here. The pacing's too fast here. They're
right.
giving them reader feedback. So betas come after alpha. Think of it like a lot of people get confused because they're like, shouldn't alpha be, I think they're thinking like alpha males or something. They get
Right.
it crossed. Think of it like software where you have like, oh, it's in alpha. Okay, now it's
Yeah,
in beta. It's the same thing with a book.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And it definitely is like helpful because, like you said, if you finish a book and it's like, hey, you kind of, this character is very, very flat and two-dimensional. You should do this, or like they're unnecessary. Like there's all these plot, it's like, okay, if that requires me to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's definitely nice having that alpha along the way. Um,
Yeah.
so let's get into your book then. I've read your book and I really enjoyed it. I was like, I remember like reading it over. I was like, oh, this is like really good. And not that I was like surprised that you could write good or write
But
well.
it's a romance and you're a guy and you don't expect to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
anything
So
out of it.
I was like, because you told me because I was like, you offered to read part of my book, which now has like an untitled thing because I'm like not sure the title anymore.
Yeah.
And then you told me yours now, and you're like, yeah, it's a romance. And I was like, ooh, like I want to be helpful, but I'm not really into romance.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's really good. All the characters are great. The descriptions are great. It's really immersive. So it's called The Curse of the Nightingale. And wonder if you could give us a little elevator pitch and what it's all about.
Okay. So The Curse of the Nightingale is a gothic fantasy romance. So think in terms of pacing and characterization, think like a modern Pride of Prejudice, think like the Hulu series, The Great, but also think a little bit of The Witcher. There's a lot of darkness and magic and horrible things going on in the background. Um, Not super action packed, but it is about Alana Chastain, who's a girl whose parents were apothecaries for a village. And witchcraft is illegal in this universe. It's not like Abrahamic witchcraft, it's its own thing. This is a terrible elevator pitch. I'm like meandering. Um, but, anyways, her parents don't help this witch to not feel pain when they're burning her at the stake. So, as revenge, the witch curses them so that their firstborn daughter, um, whenever she speaks, men will fall in love with her. And it's kind of an ironic revenge because her cries fell on deaf ears, and she's like, no one's going to be deaf to your daughter. No one's going to want for her death because if they hear her speak, so on. So, anyways, the actual plot of the story is you have Alana, and she has been raised in isolation in the woods, and it's been 19 years of that. Everything she knows of humanity, she knows through books. She knows through her parents, but she's never met another human being. And then she encounters a man hunting in the woods, but sees he's about to step on an extremely deadly adder species. And so she calls out to him to save his life, and it turns out he is the prince of the nation, who has never felt love or affection for anyone in his life due to his own traumas. So he believes she's bewitched him and drags her off to court and demands that she become his basically his court sorceress and like help him take care of his problems behind the scenes so that he doesn't come across as like this dictator, you know, I'm going to go kill everybody that's my enemy. They'll think it's supernatural forces at hand.
Right.
But yeah, it goes all over the place from there. It leaves a lot of threads because it's the first part of a trilogy. There's a love triangle, there's witchcraft, there's dark and mysterious forces at hand, betrayal, friendship, everything. That was wine
Yeah,
gum.
no, no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, there were a lot of different elements in the book. Like it's not like your guess like a typical like happy romance at times. You know, it's very I mean there are happy moments, but like it's very like you said, it's gothic, right? So like it's a the slow burn. There are action moments, there's dark stuff in it. And I think that's what kind of appealed to me as like I know I'm probably not the target audience, but reading, I was like, oh, this is, this is enjoying it is this is making me have fun, thinking about what's going to happen next and who's she going to get with and all this stuff. It was
And the
actually really
political
enjoyable.
intrigue and things like that
Yes,
appeal as well.
it's the political part of my mind as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in it. I had a couple of male beta readers, and they were still getting stuff out of it, which was super exciting for me because
Right.
I don't know. I guess growing up, I tended to read a lot of books that were written by guys. Stephen King was my favorite author until my senior year, maybe. Um, so I read a lot of work by men, and something interesting in the romance community is they're like a lot of women only want other women to read their works. Um, but I don't know. I think there's definitely a value in having both of the sexes
Right.
evaluate your work and say like, this is what I'm getting out of it. Everyone should be able to get something out of your work.
Yeah, for sure. And it allows you to see other people's feedback too. If your target
Mhm.
audience is to this, but then someone's like, oh, I noticed this. And like, I had no idea that I didn't even think about that. You see different comments. And I know when looking at your document, I could see other people commenting who were like, I saw some women comment things. I was like, oh, I didn't notice that, but it's cool that
Yeah.
they're like getting that, or like I noticed things. So it was really cool being a part of that process. And I'm not just trying to gas you up as your friend. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very good book.
Thank you.
I by the end I was like, oh, this is great. This definitely deserves to get published.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I'm excited to get it out there, and as I'm trying to work on the social media side of things, I'm like allergic to it, but I'm trying to get
It's
into it.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had a few people hyping me up. They like the cover, they like the synopsis. I'll post like quotes and people are like that would sell me on it. So I feel like I'm in a good place
Yeah.
with it almost being published at this point.
And that's another thing. I know you're an artist as well. And like when we were in school, I remember you did a lot of like anime. So you designed your own cover, right? Which is pretty cool because some artists, I'm not some writers aren't able to do that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do an anime cover. I don't want I mean I think anime is very popular in the concept art realm for authors right now. I've been seeing a ton of it. Um, but I wanted something that matched the genre a little bit more. So I was looking at different art styles, and at first I was thinking like a black and white watercolor, but
Mhm.
that was too in the realm of horror. And I mean, you saw it. I went through several different designs before landing on something kind of Art Nouveau, kind of sad looking. So I was very happy with the final product, and it was so far out of my comfort zone. It took like probably a 3 or 4 full days of work if I was to put all the hours together.
Yeah.
Several weeks otherwise.
Yeah. So I guess like speaking of time and all that, like how much time would you say it took you to write the book from like starting it, ideas to then kind of where you're at right now? How long was that process?
Not as long as anything else I ever tried to work on before, and there's reasons, but I worked on the outline for a couple of weeks, and then I sat on it for like a month. Didn't think about it at all after I finished the outline. I kind of forgot about it. And then one day I was like, oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna write that. And I think it hit me because my gaming PC broke. And so I was just kind of meandering around my house, not doing anything. And I'm like, I guess I could write now. Um, so I sorry, my kid's knocking on the door. Um, so I wrote the book when I had nothing else to do and I had no other hobbies to focus on. And it took me, I think, a total of 3 or 4 months from start to finish. And then I've been editing since then, but actually sitting down and writing it, 3 or 4 months.
Nice. That's really good. That's one thing I've struggled with is it's hard for me to focus on one thing. I get so many different things that I want to do. And I'm like, okay, I need to sit down and do this. And so that's really impressive to get it done in that amount because of the book is how many words is the book again? It's like what,
It
100,000?
it was 155,000.
Okay, I'm trying to
Um,
remember.
I have cut 25,000 words. So, no, I haven't. About 20,000 words. It's 133,000 right now. So, I've gotten it significantly down. I'm going to try and shed another 3,000. They say with fantasy romance, you want to hit around 120,000 words if you're traditionally publishing. I will not hit that, so I will be self publishing.
Right.
But I think it's remarkable that I got it down as low as I
Yeah,
did.
no, that's impressive because I mean, you'd ask me a couple of times like, is there anything you want to cut? I'm like, I liked it all. So I was
Yeah.
always horrible with that piece of feedback. I was like, keep everything.
Yeah. And then I was able to find stuff mostly like I would have described something better in one place than in another. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can go and gut that part because
Yeah.
I already do it better over here. So it was a lot of doing that over and over again. And, I think through all the edits, I've probably read this stupid book like 40 times
Oh, I
by
imagine. Yeah.
now. I should have parts that
Probably
I'm
got
like,
it memorized.
yeah, somehow I don't. Every now and then, like I can memorize a part, but yeah, it's gone through a lot of little changes. So
What kind of advice would you give someone who's like, because I think a challenging thing whenever if you're either writing something or drawing something or whatever or filming something is like the feedback part is like you have to get feedback and we work on something really hard and it's like we put ourselves into it and then you kind of make yourself vulnerable like here's my thing and we have an idea of how people will perceive it, but then someone might point something out that we don't realize, and it can be hard to kind of balance that. Like, okay, don't take this personally, don't get too upset about it. Like, how would you give advice to someone to like take feedback in a good way?
so first of all, you want a good critique partner. You want somebody that is able to tell you, hey, you're doing something wrong, but not insult you. So, say you write something that is egregiously bad, right? I need to be able to tell you, Tyler, this is bad. But you don't want me to say, hey, idiot, like you don't
Yeah,
want me to make you, to demean you. So, you need to find somebody that's able to tell you, like, not even to say this is bad, just say this is how it would be better. Finding that
right.
good critique partner is essential. But also you do need to be able to hear people tell you something is bad. And if you're just getting critique partners that are like, this is great, this is great, this is great, you have bad partners.
Yeah,
They have to be able to tell you something is wrong, and you have to be able to accept that something is wrong, expect that several things are wrong. Basically finish your draft, admit that it's garbage, and put it out
hmm,
there.
yeah,
um, as far as finding good critique partners, I think the biggest thing is having a trade off with somebody. So um, I don't think I had any critique partners that just did it without me doing something in exchange for them. Um, I think that's how you get the good ones is you're doing them a service by alpha reading for them or beta reading for them. So they're going to come at you with a similar energy to what you've given them.
right.
But
And
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I did have somebody that did leave like pretty negative feedback, just was not into the book by genre. And then I had another person that didn't finish the book, but something you want to do is have a feedback sheet for people where you ask them to fill it out even if they don't finish it so you know what you did wrong.
Right.
Um, so kind of seeing like this appealed to people, this did not appeal to people. Even if they hate your book, there's still something valuable in their evaluation of your book.
Yeah. And just to kind of compliment you, I thought you were always very good about giving feedback. I remember there's one time, there's probably one thing that like had the most feedback. You were like, oh, this really needs to change the most. And you like left me like a minute and a half or 2 minute long voice memo. And you were like, I don't want this to come across as bad. Like that's why I'm doing this on memo and all that. And I appreciated that. And I think you've had a really good outlook where you're like you've had a whole lot of feedback and you found ways to like incorporate that into your book without being like too upset when you've gotten feedback. You like being mature about it and finding a productive way to use that feedback.
Yeah. And when I'm not mature about it, I can just go scream for a
That's
minute.
right. Yeah. We can vent to each other and be like, oh, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is hard though, because like you put a lot of time and effort into something like, here's my thing, and we do want people to like it. I
Yeah.
mean, we are like, you can be like, oh, this is my baby, and I don't care what anybody thinks. Like, yes, you do. If you draw something, if you write something, you do want people to like it, and if people don't resonate with it in the same way you do, it's like, oh, well, I worked hard on this, So that is kind of challenging when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
But so you've mentioned the self-publishing piece. Do you have kind of a time frame you imagine it being like available for people to read?
So at the end of the month, I'm going to open up ARC reading. So ARC is like the third stage. You got your alpha, your beta, and then you have ARC. ARC stands for Advanced Reader Copy. And basically, in exchange for leaving you a review on Amazon, they get a free copy of your book. Now, it's not like give me a positive review, it's an honest review, but that's how you get your reviews. That's how you start building up your popularity. So I'll do that for 2 or 3 months. My hard, I want to get this out here month is the beginning of February. Originally, I wanted to do it around Christmas time, and then after this recent round of edits, I'm like, I need a little more, a little more time. If I can get it out before Valentine's Day, I'll be happy.
I think it's really good that you have like a timeline in mind because I think it's very easy to be like, oh man, it's not ready. Let me push off another month or another month. Like you could keep doing that forever. It's like I know you said it wasn't ready, so you can push off a little bit more. But like if you're like, maybe not February, maybe March or maybe April, it's good to be like, all right, it's coming out,
Yeah,
here.
like it or
Because you can
not.
keep doing that forever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really exciting. I mean, I'm excited to read it. I'll leave you a review. I'm hyped. I have to get a copy of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I wanna make sure that people that I know personally can read it for free. So I'll have like a free version that I send to people. It'll probably just be a digital copy. I can't afford to print a bunch of copies for
Yeah,
free, but I'll
right.
I'll be sending out at least free digital copies. Not just for ARC Reader. When it's out, if I know you, it's free.
Nice.
Because I want that word of mouth. I want that my friend wrote a book, it's good, here you go. You know?
Right, exactly. That's really good. I'm very proud of you, being your friend and reading this stuff. I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Amber did a very good job.
Thank you. I'm excited to get some people. I know you introduced me to a friend of yours on Instagram that does like book reviews, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can nudge him
Right, yeah,
to
and
get
I
the
mean,
reading.
he reads. He's not like, with me. I'm like, I'm more into like sci-fi and fantasy and all that. This is my first romance book. He'll read romances. He'll do all the things. So
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sure
seen
he'll.
him review like current gothic romantasy things that's out there right now, and I'm like, hey, all right, like
Yeah,
he'll read anything.
right. Yes,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so
That'll be good word
I'll
of mouth.
nudge him.
And I did want to say too, like going back to your cover thing, so we're in a Facebook group together. I know you're probably in more than I am. That's like the one I'm in is like the basic authors. And I've noticed with some people, they'll post things that are like, here's my cover I made, and there's some AI stuff in there. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Let's, so I do appreciate that you made it yourself. Like you made the cover. And even if you couldn't draw, like I know that you probably would have commissioned someone to do it.
Yeah,
Because I think it's
and
for us not to like, you know, just
even if you can't,
generate something.
even if you can't draw, there's still resources out there to make your own cover if you don't want to commission somebody. You can use things like Canva. Um, there are similar services that will let you like put uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? They'll let you put images together and like splice them in a way that's not AI, that's not theft. You can still make a
Yeah,
good cover without knowing how to draw.
right,
So
exactly.
yeah, But
Well, it's
even
actually like
commissioning is not that expensive for a book cover. Like,
no, I mean especially like your local small time people. I mean, you could
yeah.
find someone with a reason that will make it for like $50, even
Hmm.
$100. That's not, I mean, that's not that bad, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then there are like adoption things where people will put out like I made these covers. If anyone wants to buy them, they cost
Mhm.
usually between like 50 and 100. I've seen them as low as 30.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it. But yeah, commissioning, I think the most you would pay an average artist, like not a bad artist, just not somebody with a huge following. The most you'd probably pay is like 300, which is not terrible.
Yeah, all things considered.
Yeah.
So I want to take a, I guess, point of privilege here, rewind a little bit. I sent you this picture um earlier today. I found it. This is it's got on the screen now. This is you and I. I guess this would have been 2013, 2014. I don't, maybe 13. I can't remember exactly what year it was. You and I decided we were going to make a YouTube channel. I'm not going to say the name of it because I think the videos are still out there and I don't
They
want anyone to
definitely
find
are.
it. Yeah, so I'm not putting the name out there. But this is us back in high school, and the goal was to make a channel that would talk about all things, I guess, entertainment stuff. Like I was going to talk about comics and movies and stuff, and you were going to talk about anime.
Hmm.
We had other people involved that never actually did anything, and then we just kind of stopped.
Now this was before comics and anime were cool.
Exactly. We were like, it was still like the
Lame.
Marvel movies were just coming out, but like it wasn't, we were nerds, we were the kind of geeky people.
Hmm.
Um, Nowadays, like it's all super popular to
Yeah.
do, but like back then it was like,
Now nowadays people come up to me and they're like, "Do you watch anime?" And I'm like, "No." It's a
right.
lie, but no.
Um, but I remember doing it was, I mean, it was a fun concept. I think back then we were like, oh, let's see if we can do the YouTube thing. I don't think we ever thought it was gonna be anything, but it was like, oh, it'll be fun to talk about it,
It
back
just
then in our what,
it,
juniors and high school or sophomores or whatever.
mhm.
And I know you did spend some time in the convention scene with anime stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not going to dig too deep because I know there's some, it can get a little cringe. And I think even
It's
people in
yeah.
that community would know it's cringe.
I think if I told anybody the types of panels I was running, it would be the end of my budding career.
Right.
But I did a lot of like comedy, kind of stand-up panels. If you can imagine that,
Yeah.
they were actually very successful, and I did like game shows and things like that. So, I mean, I love the convention scene. I haven't gone to any since I've had kids because it's too hectic to plan a weekend
Yeah.
away just to go stand in line. But
Right.
I loved that scene. I liked the stage. I liked bringing up people on stage and embarrassing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good time in my life. I had my cosplay era.
Yes.
I
Are you retired? You're retired, I assume.
am so retired, but you know, the last time I cosplayed wasn't. I was. This was maybe 3 years ago, and I wore a pair of boots that gave me foot damage, and I haven't cosplayed since then.
Yeah, you're traumatized.
Yeah, but it wasn't motherhood that took it away from me. It was the friggin' 6 inch heels.
Yeah, I imagine. I've never done such a thing, but I imagine it would not be fun.
You should try sometime. It's
Maybe. I mean, that could be
horrible.
a good a good stretch goal.
Yeah.
Um, we just finished we hosted a convention is our second one, and it was pretty good. We had a good turnout, and it's always fun. Like it was mainly comic books, but we have, all sorts of like video games and some anime and all that is, kind of overall pop culture con. And it's cool seeing people come together, and people like to bring their kids, and we had a cosplay contest for the first time, and a few people participated. There's a lot of young people participating, which is good, so there's I didn't recognize some of the outfits, so I'm like, am I getting old? Am I not knowing what certain anime is? Even though my anime knowledge is pretty shallow to begin with,
Yeah,
you
there's a
know?
lot where I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Is that one of those Genshin impacts? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I'm like, is that a Demon Slayer? Is that like I know Dragon Ball Z is like I was very basic into, I knew a couple things.
Yeah.
I knew Death Note, I know. Um, But yeah, what the kid I feel what the kids are doing these days, I just don't know. But I more power to them.
And then there's things that have made a comeback. Like Naruto got big. Last Halloween, I saw like a bunch of kids in Naruto costumes, and I was like, "What's happening? What year is
Right.
this?" And
I
one
know he had like
kid,
a son at one point. I think there was like a
yeah,
spin-off show. I don't know if that
it
contributed
wasn't
or
good, but yeah,
oh, yeah. I don't
no,
know.
he just won't die. But I know I saw some kid in like one of the little Akatsuki uniforms, and I was like, "Hey, nice cosplay," and he's just like,
He's like,
"There's
oh,
something to be said of that Jin Alpha stare. It is
right.
menacing." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna shut up and go."
We've got a YouTube TV, and I we watch some like Adult Swim channel just to watch like cartoons like King of the Hill and Bob's Burgers and things like that. And there'll be like there's like a new Dragon Ball show that's
Mm.
out now. I don't know. It's Dragon Ball some I don't know. It's like a can't remember the name of Dragon Ball. I don't even I can't remember. But I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, it's a new Dragon Ball show. Okay, cool. Goku's a kid again for the umpteenth time. Okay, okay,
it
yeah,
also won't die.
yeah.
They will
So
milk the baby forever.
it it is cool that it becomes like and I'm shaking real like the con scene. There's really not people that are like rude in the. I mean, there are some people, but like generally, if you're going to a con, you are, you're into stuff and like people relate to that, and so like people aren't normally judging you at a con.
It's
You're
gotten
dressed as
better.
whoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say it's like was it bad at one point? You feel like? Do you think there's a lot of judgmental stuff or
There was a time where anime cons had to have posters up that said like please wear deodorant, don't grab people, um
yeah,
don't spank people.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there was a time where they were a certain type. I mean, I had like weird things happen at anime cons when I was like in middle school.
yeah,
Um but it was like between people doing really weird crap at the conventions and you'd have these groups of people that came in and they're like, I'm an anime fan, but I'm not like other anime fans. I'm sophisticated. I like seinen anime. I like Helsing. And they'd go to the cons and they'd stand in their little circles and like it was like a non-prom, but for an anime con. So it's even lamer. Like
taking the fun out
yeah,
of
there
it.
were snobs.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think there are still some people that need to be reminded of like etiquette. Like there are times where like most people, you see a cool cosplay, and like, hey, can I take a picture with you? Or can I take a picture of your cosplay? Most people are fine with that, but like,
Yeah.
you always got to ask, can I take a picture? Don't just be weird and like take it or, don't be, you know, handsy or whatever. And, there are things that should be common knowledge that maybe some people just don't understand.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's like I've gone to enough cons, both like small ones and medium-sized ones, that I think it's gotten better. I think people are polite for the most part, but you're always going to have your one or two that are like, okay, let's dial it back a little bit.
Yeah. And I guess that's like nowadays it just kind of feels like going to anything. You go to a Renaissance fair, you're going to have a couple of weird encounters. You go to a basketball game and do weird things happen at basketball games? I don't know, but I
I've
presume
not
you
been to
would.
one, and I barely know what a basketball is.
I'm sure if you spoke to people at a basketball game about basketball and sports, they would.
Sport. Uh,
Maybe it would be us in this instance.
yeah, they'd be like, who are these guys? Like they're talking about their book, and they're reading during it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's just everywhere you go, there's going to be a couple of oddballs, but anime cons they do feel a lot more normal now. Comic
Yeah,
cons feel a lot more normal. It's a lot less weird to be like, oh, I'm going to go pay $200 to get Keith David to sign my back. Like
yeah.
that's pretty normal now. It's even cool. People are like, hell yeah, I want to meet Giancarlo Esposito. Like,
Oh yeah. Now I've got actually, man. What over here is I've got a barely see it, but I've got a picture with him over there.
yeah.
So it was pretty cool. And it's like now it's so professional now. You get these amazing pictures with them that's like super high
Hmm.
quality, sometimes super expensive.
Yeah.
Um, but it is they've made it a lot cooler than it used to be, I think. And kind of tying some things together, we had a couple authors at our convention. So it's cool to see like authors, going to cons and tabling, and it's a good way to promote yourself as well.
Definitely. And I think that's where having a good cover is going to do the most for you. We have a huge local author scene where I live, and I feel like don't judge a book by its cover is BS. People will judge your book by its cover. So if you go to a
Yeah,
convention scene, you go to a local author fair, anything like that, have a good cover, have a good pitch. I need to work on my elevator pitch clearly.
it's
But
tough. It's
yes, especially when it's like a big wordy tome. It's like, how do I condense this into 2 sentences? I could
yeah,
barely write the blurb on the back of the book. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited for it to come out. Like I said, I'm not trying to gas you up or anything like that. It's an enjoyable book. It's got so many things, love triangles, and it's got some action. It's got strong leads. It's got so many different cool side characters and side plots in it. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would give it 5 stars for sure, and I'm excited for people to get to read it as well.
Thank you. I need to
Of
send your
course.
wife a copy.
Yes, yes, Mia definitely needs to read it. So I
Mhm.
will make sure she gets to read it.
Yes.
Um, but until then, we definitely wish you the best of luck as you're promoting it and working forward, working toward that point. And when you get to release it in February.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I will let you know when it's out there in the world. And hopefully, by the time it's out there, I'll actually have finished writing the second book, and we're
That'd be
getting the ball
great.
rolling. Yeah,
I definitely plan to read the second one.
thank you. You have to know what happens. It gets crazier.
Yes,
It gets
exactly. I
crazier.
was It was a cliffhanger. Yes, I hope it gets even crazier. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will.
I don't even know if I can call it gothic after the second book. I think it loses that portion of the title.
Right.
So,
Nice. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yay! Come!